Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Looking, just fires it downfield. It's caught by Brian Thomas Jr., but he caught shy of first down yardage. He is tackled to the ground in what will be the final play of the Jaguar season.
The Jaguars have fired head coach Doug Pederson, ending his tenure after a frustrating season. And this is one, guys, I think we have known has been coming for some time. He said, and this is, again, constant, I strongly believe it is possible next season we'll restore the winning environment we had here not long ago. He adds, Tom, that he will collaborate with general manager Trent Baalke to make the next move for the organization.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday to you. Second Wednesday of 2025, Tony. So now 2025 is old hat. We're into this year big time, and we still are on the coaching search and the bemoaning the state of the front office front. Dylan tells us that's the last day he'll get a fresh open. Maybe not a fresh one. I don't know. Maybe it's just
that'll be the last one that plays.
That'll be but that one's getting retired.
Correct.
Right there.
Yeah.
So you're going to bring us hope in the future. Is that correct? Or you're just going to go
some
back
point in the future. I don't know about
throwback.
Yeah, I don't know about tomorrow, but some point in the future. Probably the next 2 weeks. You know. I don't know, man. I kind of do my own thing. You know.
I know, but you're the only one who knows. So it's,
a lot of it is I just wake up. A lot of it is I wake up, I come here, I'm like, all right, what should I do? And then just something happens. Not really I have a plan.
That's kind of my life. Brother.
Yeah.
Wake up. All right, what should I do today? Probably should go to work. After that,
probably should take a walk.
See what happens.
Yeah. See what happens.
Probably some eat. You know.
Go to the grocery store.
Do some things like that.
Things like that. All right.
You would shotgun. See what happens.
See what happens. You know, let's try this and see what happens, Tony. And you never know. It might turn out you might get lucky sometimes.
Could be.
You know, I'm still here. I'm still alive. Haven't had that big catastrophic mistake yet. So got that going for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So today we'll get into a number of things. Our official question of the day is kind of based on the Jags list of candidates that they put out there that they're going to be reaching out to. I don't know if that's an exhaustive list, but I don't know why it wouldn't be either, right? Like if you really are planning on reaching out to several others in this coaching cycle, why wouldn't their names be included here?
Well, especially the guys that are currently coaching, right? Like, so if you're going to have the access to any of those guys, next week could be the week after that could be the week where you get the opportunity to talk to those guys, but it's going to be in this short kind of window to at least have that initial conversation with them to gauge whatever interest they might have. Now, could we get through whatever happens in the postseason here and that list expands because you didn't hear what you wanted to hear back from a bunch of these candidates? I suppose that's possible.
Mean in terms of yes? You mean like, do you want the job?
Yeah, I suppose like the list could expand once you get past the postseason or different teams get eliminated and you heard a bunch of no's from guys on your list or you talked to them and said, I don't think this is going to work, you know, here in Jacksonville, like those. So it doesn't have to be the permanent list that this is it. They're working off this from this moment forward. Nothing else will be added or subtracted from the. I don't think it has to be that, but this is at least where they're going to start to make their search happen. So it's okay to at least look at that list and say, pretty good odds that one of those guys is going to be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You would think, right? Like if they wanted to reach out to Mike Vrabel, why not include him on there?
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that they have to reach out to Mike Vrabel. You know, Mike Vrabel, I think his reputation might exceed his actual performance. Now, he was the 1 seed once, right, in the AFC.
He was.
They promptly lost the first playoff game. He ended with a couple of losing records in Tennessee. You know, and so, again, Tennessee, though, collapsed, and they have the number 1 pick, right? So you could say that's a feather in Vrabel's cap that he had a more competitive than this, at least. Obviously, he's got interest, and people think he'll end up in one of two places. New England, the former team he played for so many years, or in Vegas because Tom Brady is part of the ownership group there. And a lot of people think that that's why the Raiders decided to move now on Antonio Pierce and not delay it any longer and get in on the Vrabel sweepstakes. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know what Brady and that group is thinking. I would imagine whoever Brady wants is who they're going to offer the job to, right? I mean, why bring Tom Brady in as a member of ownership and give him part of this process to be involved in, and then you're going to listen to Mark Davis? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
it doesn't make any sense to me. I would think his recommendation will carry a ton of weight. Doesn't mean that whoever he recommends will get the job. But anyway, the list is out there of 8 names. One name that's not on it is Cliff Kingsbury. We'll get to him in a moment, and he's said to be, resurrecting his stock with the job he did as the offensive coordinator for Jaden Daniels in Washington this year. Could he do the same for another young quarterback such as Trevor Lawrence or Caleb Williams? I heard his name mentioned in Chicago as well. Not on that Jags initial list. Tony Pauline, and we appreciate everybody who pointed us in this direction this morning. Sportskeeda is his most recent outlet. We have him on a lot during draft season. He's one of our favorite draft analysts, and he, if the timing works out, will join us in the second hour today. He's traveling. He's supposed to be home by 11 o'clock our time. So if it works out, we might get him on at 11:20 or 11:35. We don't need him for that long. We just want to follow up on a piece that he put out there, Tony, that had some very interesting nuggets in it, if true. Starting with one, I'm paraphrasing everything here, okay? So none of these are direct quotes, all right? But basically the word around the league that Tony is hearing, Tony Pauline that is that Trent Baalke may lead this search for the next head coach, but then may take a step back and take on some different role in the Jaguars organization and help the process of identifying the next general manager. I don't know if that's true or not. I brought it up when I heard it because I heard it from someone that I trust in the last couple months of the season, that they said they knew someone who was close to Baalke who indicated that he might be contemplating retirement. Then that got brought up on Monday in that fantastic press conference that will go down in the annals of press conference history.
No doubt.
As one of the greatest examples of PR maneuvering. But that Baalke said, look, if I was even thinking about that, the only person I'd have that conversation with is my wife. And he never said, no, I'm not. But at the same time, I got the clear impression that he was not ready to retire, but retiring and changing jobs within an organization are not the same thing.
Not close.
Right? I mean, as long as you're still working. Like I don't even know if you say, well, I'm going to quit this job that I have working 40 hours a week. I'm going to go work part-time bagging groceries, for instance, right? Are you retired? Maybe from what, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, technically, could you say, no, I'm not retired? I'm still working, right? So things can mean what you want them to mean. And people can play dumb in press conferences. People can just not know what cleaning house means in the context of an NFL organization, right? So if we understand that we're not going to be privy to every internal thought of everyone who's answering a question in front of a microphone, is it possible that Trent Baalke has some altered role in the organization? Maybe. I don't know. But if you are interviewing with the Jacksonville Jaguars as a head coaching candidate, that would bring in just a whole level of other questions. Well, what is that role going to be? Am I going to, even though the head coach is going to answer directly to Shad Khan, who would the next GM be? Who am I going to be working hand in hand with? You know what? It's almost better to know the devil, okay, well, here's my track record. You're going to be working with me. Can you work with me? Yes or no? As opposed to, well, I'm still going to be on the organization, but maybe we'll take your recommendation. Maybe we won't, but we'll probably have a new GM in here. Look, I'm not trying to get anybody's hopes up or whatever.
I don't even know if that would get your hopes up.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying this is out there, and so we'll let Tony Pauline speak for himself as to how much he's hearing this, how much of a drumbeat this is out there.
Right. With things like this that happen all the time, right? Like there are different, as we've discussed throughout the year, situations come up and people are like, well, that can't work because the coach and the GM are headbutting. That's why Mason's not playing. Like these different things that are going on, and there's no real evidence of that except you see that this guy's not playing, so it must mean this is true, right? Like those kind of things happen. So I see the article from Tony Pauline, and I'd love to talk to him today and see what's going on with any of this. And then I think back to the press conference, and I can make that fit. Right, like I can make that kind of thing fit, that the idea is Trent Baalke's going to get elevated to a higher position within the organization and I'm going to put somebody else underneath him. And I can take what Shad Khan said and make all of that make sense in my head just based on what I heard Shad Khan say. That doesn't mean that's what he was saying, right? But I can make that make sense if I want that to be the story that Shad was trying to tell at that press conference a couple of days ago. Yeah, sure, okay. Would I be doing jumping jacks because Trent Baalke is no longer the GM and now he's higher in the organization? No, I would not be all that thrilled about that being the direction this thing is going. But do I think it makes some kind of sense when, Shad get asked about, well, who do you talk to? Who is your kind of brain trust? And he basically says Trent.
Right. Imagine if Shad Khan got up and held a press conference and goes, hey, I'd just like to announce that Trent Baalke is no longer our general manager. And after the raucous applause from the listening audience, the fan base crowd, he then says he'll now be in the new role of executive vice president. You want an EVP? You got an EVP.
Yeah, that's right. Like I could make that explain, Shad chuckling every now and then, during the whole thing. Like I can use it to make it fit whatever narrative I want it to fit. Right, like with those kinds of things. But obviously, Shad Khan has a lot of trust in Trent Baalke. That I don't dispute. Like we've had enough evidence of that over the course of time here in Jacksonville that he trusts Trent Baalke. Does that mean necessarily he's going to elevate him to that kind of position? I don't know. Like I'm not rooting for it. For that to be the way this thing works out.
Even be, and what would it mean, and who knows?
Absolutely.
And again, I'm not trying to get too caught up in that because this is just one guy saying this is what he's hearing.
Sure.
So we're going to try to get Tony to weigh in on it and try to figure out if there's any legs to this situation here. The other thing I thought was a couple of other things that were interesting. He said in the piece that the Jags are all in on Ben Johnson, like he is their primary focus. Well, we'll find out again. Do they get an interview with Ben Johnson?
Yeah.
And the third thing was that, again, those around the league wouldn't be surprised if a name you hear come up associated with this job, the head coaching job, that is Cliff Kingsbury.
Right.
Who's currently the offensive coordinator with Washington. Well, he's not on the Jags list. And people have pointed out, many have said the list is, when they say requested, that means requested permission from other teams to speak to them. Like, you don't have to request permission from Vrabel. Well, you have to request an interview from Vrabel. But semantically, okay, maybe Vrabel could be included in the list. Why wouldn't Kingsbury be on the list?
Right.
Because you do have to request permission.
He's no different than Ben Johnson.
Correct.
In that
or any other OC. Yeah. Right. So if you're interested in at least exploring Cliff Kingsbury as a serious option here, you would think he'd be on your initial list of 8 names or 9. Make it 9 names that go out there. So I don't know how much credence to give any of that stuff. But we'll just soldier along, and I hope it goes quickly, Tom. I really do. I want to get up and rolling here, and at the end of the day, what's done is done to this point. Could things still change? Yes, they could in terms of Trent Baalke's role with the team, but I think it's the best for everybody's mental health to presume it's not going to. Mm-hmm. If you just put that out there, like, oh, man, I'm holding out hope. I think that is the unlikely outcome in this whole thing. I could be wrong. Look, I don't have any insider information on what Shad Khan's thinking about restructuring or the front office or how he would structure it. But, then again, if Trent is to change jobs within the organization, what would that mean for the 85 support staff that follow him around everywhere he goes, like the medical and health and wellness team? I can't speak for that.
Now we got to think about those things.
We really do need to think about that. Do we really want to, get new ticket takers and the people that answer the phone when you call up to renew and or cancel your season tickets? I don't know. So today's question today: who are your top 3 candidates? Who are your top 3 coaching candidates, regardless of who the general manager is? Look, I'm going to presume that even if you want Ben Johnson and his handpicked GM, that you take Ben Johnson, period, right? Yeah. I mean, if Ben Johnson wants the job and he feels like he can work in this environment, he's a guy with choices. So maybe it wouldn't be as gloom and doom. Then again, the other hand, what if Ben Johnson just says, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to interview. I'm not interested in that position the way things are currently situated? Don't know. We'll find out in the days, if not hours, ahead here. So if you'd like to get on and talk about the current state of affairs going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you know what those state of affairs happens to be, 641-1010 on the Garber Automall phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
All right. And let's see. Also, the YouTube virtual studio chat. You can hop in there as well. John Oehser will join us in hour number 2, and we're hopeful, if the timing works out, that we'll get Tony Pauline on in the second hour to talk about his piece that we were just discussing later on in the program. If not, I'm sure we'll have him on in the next few days ahead at his earliest convenience. So let's get locked in and try to wipe the dust off our shoulders here and get back to building the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2025. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. The thrill of victory. The agony of defeat. That's why we're here.
It's like you said, it's all hard.
1010XL. Now, the Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game. Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Drive to the game in luxury with Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville.
The opposition couldn't stop Mac's greatness when Jacksonville needed a big play, and he showed why he has that dog in him. Thanks to a 14-play sequence capped off by a Parker Washington touchdown, the Teal and Black would tie the score at 20 with 7:50 left in the fourth. The 84-yard drive is your Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole-body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Kick off the new year with a new look for your home. It's the Renewal by Anderson New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% on their energy-efficient windows and patio doors, designed to keep your home comfortable all year. Plus 0 down, no payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Pick it here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
When the heat's on high or the chill is too much, who are you going to call? Cool Cats Heating and Cooling is locally owned and operated with a perfect touch. You'll keep your home just right, day or night. AC to heating, don't take a beating. Call the coolest cats in town. With a 5-star Google rating, they're your neighbors, ready to help. So get your paw of approval from Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town. CoolCatsJacks.com.
She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses an AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start to the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you can be credit card debt-free. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLS, consumeraccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, we've decided that going forward, notice how I said that? Forward. On Mondays, we're going to do our own version of Mock Draft Monday here. We may look at some mocks from around the internet, but
when they pop up, I bet we will.
You think? But we're going to endeavor to do our own 7-round mocks. There are plenty of sites out there that can simulate them. Pro Football Network's a good one. And it's fun because, like, when you come on you can pick the team you're going to select for, how many rounds you want to do, how fast the speed, you want to do it instantaneously, you want to do a slow one, whatever. And when your pick comes up, it'll say you've got this trade offer, or maybe you won't. But, like, I just was able to trade back from just messing around with the software here. Trade back from 5 to 8 to get the 54th pick in the draft from Carolina, right? That's a pretty premium pick. Right there. And so I got another offer then from Pittsburgh. Drop back to 22, Tony. I could have had another second rounder this year, a third rounder this year, and a second next year. I passed up on that opportunity. Then the Texans, those sneaky devils, tried to come in and jump up.
Talk to Jacksonville?
They were trying to come up and lowball me with something. I said, just reject that out of hand.
So basically, it's like, being a GM is like owning your fantasy football team.
That's what we'd like
that's
to think.
That's what I'm kind of getting.
That's what we would all like to think.
At least in the mock draft arena,
right? In the actual draft and move around the draft, I think it's very similar, quite frankly. But it's all the scouting and player evaluation and all that. There's a lot of other stuff to it, right?
And there's like real pressure on your job and livelihood.
Correct.
Making all these decisions.
And we sit here, as we're sitting back with a cool beverage or whatever, and there's not this time crunch of you're on the clock and the Texans have called and there's 3 minutes left and are you going to move here?
Well, how many offers do I have?
Right. And in this case, I got 3 offers. I was very excited because I love me some trade offers.
I know.
And so I got Mason Graham with the 8th pick of the draft,
That's
Tony.
not
I
bad.
feel like a winner already. This is, and I'm not going on any further in this. This was just me testing out the software. But
well, it's going to be fun to do. I have. When we fill out whatever we're going to do this weekend for this on Pro Football Network, it sounds like that's the direction we're going with this. It'll be the first time I've ever done a mock draft like this.
Me too. Absolutely. I've never
done it. Like in all the years that we've obviously had very high picks for the Jags, we'll discuss how we feel about players and what we'd like to see them get done in drafts, but I've never done the mock draft angle on it. So I'm curious to see what that's going to be like.
We've all played around with 1-round mocks kind of thing, you know, and the Jags have multiple picks and how they all come off the board. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to pretend like the guy I'm taking in the 5th round I'm going to know much about, but it's going to be more about what positions we're able to fill and things like that. And along the way, I think we will learn more about some of these prospects.
Absolutely. And I think it'll be interesting to see how even that changes over from when we're doing this for the first time in mid-January to when the draft is actually here. And it'll be like a more real idea of how the conversations may have changed about guys that are 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Right? And what's actually going to be available once you've gone through more and more of the evaluation process with all these guys. There may be someone that you think, oh, that'd be kind of cool to land this player at that kind of position, you know, at this point in the draft. And then you get 2 months later and you're like, well, that ain't happening. You know?
Correct.
Like those kind of things are real in the draft process. Now, I don't know how real they are for people in the NFL. You know, like, I don't know how much really changes from an inside the NFL perspective, but from way out here, certainly the evaluation of players change drastically over the course of the next 3 months.
I just took a guard out of West Virginia. I lied. I'm not done.
There we go.
I made draft throughout the course of the show today. And then on the clock with pick 54, the Eagles want to come up 6 spots. They'll give me 92 for number 143. I think I'm going to take that one. All right. Let's get out to the phone lines for the first time today. I found my new toy. Let's go to Johnny in Arlington kicking things off on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I tell you what, I'm still trying to get over the season, but you know, halfway through it, I was already, turning the page because we all knew what was going to happen. But I've been a Jaguar fan since 1995. Got tickets in the family section back in the day, all of that. But it seems like I can't understand the logic of the Jaguars, and I use Coach Coughlin as an example. He comes in, we have a team, we're hopeful. You know, we took the flights to Denver, beat Denver. We go to New England, almost go to the Super Bowl, and then we fire him. Then he goes to the Giants, wins 2 Super Bowls, comes back. We decide that his management style is not what we want. We fire him again, and then we put him in the Ring of Honor. So, I mean, if that's not a picture of dysfunctional, I don't know what is. But it seems like to me that we're getting the quality coaches that's been there, that's been to the Super Bowl, that understand, and we continue to fire them. But I don't know that we have the players, the backup players. So, you know, I guess I'm saying what everybody else is saying. Why can't we get somebody in there that can get us quality players? And I think about the players that we have that leave. Do they become superstars? If not, then we picked the wrong guy. And if they do become superstars, then maybe it's the coaches. But I think it's the former versus the latter. So what do you guys think?
All right, well, you got a lot of things you threw at the wall there. First, starting with the coaching thing, Tom Coughlin had 3 consecutive losing seasons when he got fired here. The fan base had, you know, there were talk about the locker room had tuned out his message. Like, his message is one that can galvanize a group of men, but if you're not getting the results, it wears thin. And after 3 consecutive losing seasons, his time came. It's like saying, hey, Bill Belichick won all those Super Bowls in New England. How's he unemployed? Because at a certain point, that message doesn't get through and you need a fresh voice. So when they brought Tom Coughlin back after having that success with the Giants, Tony, what happened? The NFLPA, based on Coughlin's practices and public statements about, you know, that ran afoul of the CBA about, you know, when players should be there, even if they weren't required to be there and things like that. The NFLPA, the Players Association, put out a statement, a public statement, saying that free agents should consider not going to Jacksonville. An unprecedented statement.
Yeah.
You couldn't keep him after that. He was the reason why. And I love Tom, but did his accomplishments merit inclusion into the pride of the Jaguars? Absolutely.
No doubt.
So to me, there's no schizophrenia here. Like his time, how many consecutive losing seasons do you get? And when you don't have a Super Bowl on your resume, which Tom Coughlin didn't when he first got, fired here in Jacksonville. So in terms of picking the player, look, there are always going to be some guys that develop on a different timeline, right? That go somewhere else and shine, and you go, oh, man, we should have kept that guy. Well, yes, in some cases, but that happens in a lot of places around the National Football League. And if you're saying if they don't become superstars somewhere else, look, the bottom line, the Jags haven't drafted well enough for the guys that they have retained. I agree with that. And why can't we get that guy? Well, there are plenty of organizations that are asking that question. And when you get a proven front office mind that has a proven track record, you don't let those guys go.
No.
Right? And we talked about Ozzie Newsome yesterday with Jeff Logman. When you've got a guy that shows time after time, maybe you have a bad draft or maybe you miss on a few picks, but cumulatively, the quality of the player that he identified in whether it was free agency or the draft was consistently high. And that's what keeps that organization competitive for a long time. Why can't we find that guy? If we knew exactly who to go to, I think there'd be a line waiting to hire that guy. You sometimes don't know until that guy gets the opportunity. Has John Lynch done a good job with the 49ers? I would say yes, right? But there are a lot of people that question, should a guy whose experience other than playing has basically been as a broadcaster be given the reins to an organization? If it doesn't work out, you look like a fool. If it does work out, you're like, oh, look, it's John Lynch.
There's nothing involved in football that is as simple as 2 + 2 is 4. Right? And there's no part of the process that is that simple. Not really, right? Like you can think watching Detroit and the success that they're having this year that what you need is a real hard-nosed, crazy coach like Dan Campbell. Fine. Like I'm not saying that can't work. It obviously can work, but that's not the only way you win in the National Football League. Having the best offensive line isn't the only way you win in the National Football League. Cincinnati went to a Super Bowl a couple of years ago with the worst offensive line in the league. The worst offensive line in the league. There's no one path to getting to the highest level of any of this. If there was some formula, we talk about it with the draft a lot. If anyone had figured out a formula, this is how it works, this is the way it's going to work for you every time, that's not real, right? Like that doesn't exist and everyone would duplicate it. If anyone could duplicate what Ozzie did for all those years, they would. It's not that simple. There's only one Ozzie. Right? So the point is you find the Ozzie. Now, how do you get on the path to finding that guy that can push your franchise in that kind of direction? That's way more difficult than, well, he just needs to be like Ozzie. That's what everyone says.
Right.
Right, but that's way more difficult than actually, like, the process of getting someone who's actually to that point is a long process, right? And I don't think there's anybody else in the league right now that is Ozzie. There are guys that are fantastic at different jobs, and you want to emulate what they do, replicate what they do. And I get fans saying, we just got to find the next one of those. It's like, okay, I'm with you. They do need to find the next one of those. What's the path to that? I do not know. I don't even know how Baltimore landed on Ozzie, but they did.
Right.
And good for them for having done it and taking advantage of it for the 2.5 decades he was doing it, because they were great the whole time he was.
All right,
and
Johnny,
whatever that was, it's stuck around because they're still great.
It's a good question. I just think there's one that we don't have a simple formula or answer to.
No.
Why can't we? You can. The question is, why haven't we? Well, it's not that easy to do. And I got a few more thoughts on that based on what the current roster holds for these Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll get to that. We're got to hit a break here, though. Johnny, thank you for the call, 641-1010. If you want to jump in on the Garber Automall phone lines, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark. Who are your top 3 coaching candidates based on the names that have been bandied about so far in the last couple of days? We'll get into that and more. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, contact Florida First Insurance Group on University Boulevard. An award-winning Florida Blue agency, well known for providing superior service. Theo Mitchelson and his team at Florida First make the process easy and stress-free with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Contact Theo Mitchelson and the Florida First Insurance Group today and let your health be their priority. And a reminder for Florida Blue members, visit Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations in town offering primary care, walk-in services, an on-site pharmacy, and mental health support. SANITAS Medical Center, Florida First Insurance Group, and Sanitas Medical Center, a winning team in Northeast Florida.
Football's heating up. The NBA is back. And on Hard Rock Bet, you can bet every sport. Even combine all your sports into one bet. One Florida bettor put $50 on a combo parlay and won more than $100,000. And they tacked on another $10,000 to that win with a daily profit boost. Promos every day for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. Win your first bet or get up to $100 back in bonus bets. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
On Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Florida's weather is unpredictable. Don't let the Epic Chill catch you off guard. For reliable heating services, call Epic Cool Heating and Air. Keep your home cozy all season long. Call 904-859-EPIC. 904-859-3742.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Nick in here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs. Did the kitchen towel take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res. Spell it forwards. Zero Res. Spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Every Monday, David Garrard calls the signals and looks for you on Jaguars Today from 10 to noon.
Look past left, wrong. Oh, ready.
Brought to you by WaterboyJacks.com. Duval. On 1010XL.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Are the company's Zoom calls getting boring? Might be a good time to order some new logo caps or temporary tattoos. Check them out online at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
I'm Ben from Beard's Diamonds. My father and I buy our stones direct from the diamond cutters. No middleman, no big company overhead, no commission salespeople, and we pass the savings on to you. Before you buy anywhere else, remember, Beard's Diamonds will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. I, for one, like a sure bet. Putting my money up, knowing I'll win. That's why I bet on Awaken 180. It was a sure thing, and the results proved it to all of us. Start your new year out knowing you'll reach your goal. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Trayvon Walker dazzled against the opposition over the weekend. The former number 1 pick tallied 5 tackles versus Indy, with 2 being solo, and added in a sack on what was a great day. Beasting and feasting is how you can describe his season, and Trayvon Walker is your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive player of the game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic.
My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. Hey Jacksonville, it's Lauren from Helmets and Heels wishing you a happy new year. Start 2025 off strong by giving your car the expert care it truly deserves at Big Chief Tire. Their skilled technicians will keep your vehicle running smoothly all year long, whether you're commuting, traveling, or just cruising around town. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment and start the new year off right. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
NFL Network's Rich Eisen says it was the bottom line for Doug Pederson that forced him out as Jag head coach.
This season, Sean Kahn, the owner of the Jaguars, declared this the best team the Jaguars have had since he was the owner, and that placed the expectation bar very high, and they didn't come close to meeting it.
For Hall of Famer and former Jag Tony Pacelli, the Jag owner will make the final call on the new coach.
He is going to make the decision. Sean Kahn is going to make the decision.
When the new coach is hired, Jag owner Shad Khan expects a quick turnaround.
I think so. I mean, if our defense would improve, we could be more productive on offense. I mean, I expect this success very quickly.
At your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguar update, I'm Sam Nelson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, I want to finish this off strong now. I'm with the pick 249. I didn't think I'd continue on with this. And I haven't really kept track of which position. I know I've got some defensive line help. I think I'm going to like what I get here. I know I got a safety.
But I may have to remove you from the job. If you don't even know what you've taken.
Dang. I'm going to maybe just homer up and go Fentrell Cypress, third.
Looking forward to the press conferences. Just like, I didn't know we had already taken
I didn't know we had 6 running backs in this draft, but I will make everybody happy because I got Scattaboo in the 5th round, Tone. And we had a guy call us up the other day, thought they should consider him with their first pick.
True.
Yeah. I'm going to say no to that, but I don't mind adding a running back in the 5th round here.
No.
Do everything kind of guy like he is. All right, let me just draft the dang corner and be done with this thing, man. I've gotten so many trade offers. I don't know how many picks. I ended up with no 6th rounder. Probably because I traded out of it. All right, here we go. I ended up with 11 selections.
Oh.
And got a 4th rounder from Las Vegas in 2026 in addition to everything I had. I got Mason Graham. Everyone's happy, right? I got him at 8. That was after a trade. I got Wyatt Millum. Don't know much about him, but he's a guard, and I could use a guard out of West Virginia at 36. I got Jahdae Barron, who is actually the number 31 player on the big board here, and I got him at 60, safety out of Texas. We need safety help, Tone.
Yeah.
I took Oregon's Tez Johnson, the wide receiver.
Cisco all over again.
Maybe it is, but at least I got him at a better value for me than where I could have taken him. I took an edge out of Louisville, Ashton Gillette. I got Ernest Green, the offensive lineman out of Georgia. So I got a couple of offensive linemen here. I got Jordan Hancock, an Ohio State corner. Yeah, I'm partial to the big schools. I'm going to tell you, right? So then I got another edge, Johnny Walker. Couldn't pass up Johnny Walker, Tony, with pick 131.
No way.
I like my Johnny Walker blue, black, and any other way you want to serve it up and deliver that black and blue to the opposing quarterback. So I got 2 edge players for some depth. I got my big defensive tackle. I got a guard and a tackle on the offensive line. I got a wide receiver. I got a corner. I got a safety. Oh, I'm not done. I got Scattaboo in the 5th round, running back. I took a Clemson defensive tackle at pick 220, DeMonte, DeMonte, I can't even read this thing, man. Capehart. And then Fentrell Cypress, a corner out of Florida State. Does it give you a grade on this thing. I'm curious as to what kind of grade. I'd say an A+, honestly. That feels like an A+ draft to me. But anyway, we'll have some fun with that. And you can send yours along, too, if you want to. We're going to be using Pro Football Network on Mondays for Mock Draft Monday. If you have another site, if you just want to send your list of players, hey, I did this draft. We'd love to see those beginning next week. So maybe I'll do another before the show's out. What do you mean, maybe? I'll probably do 6 more of these before the show is out. Tone, for you, are you, and we got this question yesterday directed to Jeff, and I think he falls on the side if he wants an offensive-minded head coach, right?
Sure. Because
the theory is, in today's, it's an offensive game. As soon as you get rolling, like, hey, Washington, they're rolling with Jaden Daniels in his rookie season. Well, good chance they lose Cliff Kingsbury right now. Your head coach is a defensive-minded guy. What if the next guy working directly with your quarterback isn't as good as the last guy? And you've got to change things. Maybe he's got some different philosophies, whatever. But when you have that guy as your head coach, that system is going to stay the same. Now, look, we had that here. We had an offensive-minded head coach here, and people didn't like the guy that he hired to implement it.
Sure.
Basically, in Press Taylor, and look, I too feel like there's a difference between coming up with a game plan in terms of here are the plays we like, here are the plays that are on the sheet this week. This kind of thing, right? We've run him by Trevor. He likes this. We like these in third down. But it's the combination of when you call them. I think there is a bit of an art to it, right? The flow.
There's
the
a skill, no doubt.
Right? And I do think it's more on the art side. You can't just say, well, statistically, 72% of the time this is the right play call. I don't believe it works like that, especially in the amount of time you have and everything's so fast. So,
got to be a feel for it.
Right. And so, I do get, and I would have agreed with Shad Khan and did at the time, that if I had a preference, it would be Doug Pederson calling the plays, if this is what your specialty is. So if I get a Ben Johnson in here, and I'm thinking about delegating that makes him less attractive to me. I'm not saying Ben Johnson would say that. I'm just as an example. Sure. So you've got that category, and there's several guys that fit into this category, right? You got Todd Monken, Liam Cohen, whomever, right? We don't have to go through every name. Then you've got the, quote, leader of men category. Oftentimes, that's how we describe the defensive coach, right? Because he isn't the offensive wizard, doesn't mean he can't become more of that. And I think you see Aaron Glenn in that category. Robert Saleh is in that category as well. People really responding. You see that graphic going around yesterday about the Jets' defensive rankings with Saleh last year and after he left?
No.
They're like top 5 in everything when he got fired. And they weren't that after it.
Right.
I mean, they went.
He's a good defensive coach.
Right. They went way off the deep end. So now, granted, injuries happen as the season goes on.
Sure.
Like C.J. Mosley missed most of the latter part of the season.
Yeah, but we've seen enough of Robert Saleh to know he's a good defensive coach.
Well, it beats Saleh or anybody else. It's just an example of here's an impact that coaching can have on the same personnel, basically. And I get it. Sauce Gardner got beat up as the season went on. It wasn't exactly a one-for-one comparison, but it's the best we have. Okay, you did it with this team. Here were your rankings. You got fired. Here's where they fell off to. But are you more in this organization needs guidance and a standard bearer? Not that you can't be both, right? But if you had that guy, that Aaron Glenn, let's say he's the top candidate in that category, or the Liam Cohen side. Let's say Ben Johnson goes to Chicago, right? Because we're not just going to pick the best of everything. Which is more important for this team?
Well, I think it's a fine conversation to have. I do think it's tough to tell with any of the guys that have been mentioned what they are exactly, except the guys that have already done the job. I think it's easier to know what Robert Saleh is, right, as a head coach than it is even, Aaron Glenn. He hadn't done it. Like, we don't know what he is as a head coach. He hadn't had that job before. We know that he's done a good job with a Detroit defense right now that has all kinds of chaos. Like, there are plenty of reasons for the Detroit defense to fall off a cliff. They haven't, right? And that's a credit to Aaron Glenn, these kinds of things. I think this team needs, if they had a coach this year that have been more the disciplinary. I think if Doug Pederson was a little bit more of that kind of thing, I don't think they'd be in the hole they're in.
Okay.
Right? Like, I do think that they needed somebody to wake them up, and they didn't. The guys in the room don't have that, right? Like, it's a good locker room, but that's the thing. It's a good locker room, right? There's nothing in that locker room that when this kind of thing starts going on that's screaming at we got to wake up, right? Like, there's not a whole lot of that in the room, and it wasn't coming from the coach because that's not Doug Pederson's personality. I'm not asking him to change his personality, but I do think they need something in that room that will give them that. Now, if it was Robert Saleh or whoever it is, that doesn't mean that he can't go out and get the offensive coordinator that is going to unlock things for Trevor Lawrence, right? Now, you do that and you run the risk that in 2-3 years he's going to be gone. I mean, they're talking about Joe Brady and Liam Cohen and these different guys, Ben Johnson. It's like coaches have found these guys. They've done the job for them on the offensive side, and now they're going to go somewhere else. That's generally how it works because the league is so offensive-minded that if you hire a more defensive-minded head coach, you put your offensive coordinator, if you find a good one, at risk, right? Like he's likely in a couple of years going to be doing something else. He's going to be one
of the hot guys.
Right. Now, that doesn't mean if you're a good enough head coach that you can't find the next one too.
Right.
Right? Like you can replace – if you're good enough at that part of the job of keeping everyone going in the same direction and keeping them motivated in that direction, I think that is a – bigger part of the job to me, ultimately, than he's a really good play caller. Like, I do think that is a more important part. I don't know if Ben Johnson is that or not. I'm not saying he can't be. He could be.
Right.
Right, and he's certainly learning from one of the better ones in the league right now doing it, and Dan Campbell. Like, that guy's a monster at that side of the job right now. So he may have learned from one of the best and takes it with him wherever he goes. I would hope that's what's going to happen for Ben Johnson, especially if he lands here in Jacksonville. I think Robert Saleh, we kind of know whatever that kind of edge he has. We already know what that looks like. You know, so it's hard to figure out as we're talking about the names that have come out, you know, even how to rank them in my mind, because I leave the possibility because of the guy that Ben Johnson has been with, that he brings that with him, right? And I want that to be the reality for a guy like Ben Johnson if he is going to be that kind of thing. I see a similar thing with Liam Cohen, you know, with who he's working with down there. Like, I see that kind of similarity there. But I can understand if you're going through the search, there is a level of comfort with a guy like Robert Saleh, who I've already seen what it looks like with him doing that job up there with the New York Jets. So he's somewhere in that 3 for me. I'm not sure exactly where, but I do think the leader of men part is the more important part of that to me. Okay. Especially for this football team right now.
Yeah, look, Robert Saleh, when he was here, fantastic guy, easy to get along with, sure. Right? All that. Wonderful. And, many have suggested, hey, let's get him as our defensive coordinator. Well, he may have options, right? Maybe,
he might, yeah.
Maybe he gets an offer to be a head coach somewhere, but I don't want, quite frankly, a guy, I don't want Saleh as the head guy. Because he's had a chance very recently, and he was just so-so at best. Now, those defensive numbers are great. Bring him in to run the defense, fantastic. And I would kind of feel that way about Cliff Kingsbury, too. Has he gotten so much better
Has he learned whatever he needed to learn? Yeah.
Since his failed tenure with Arizona? I don't know. To your other point about you can find the next one sometimes. Look, Dave Canales left Tampa, and they were humming along last year, right? Goes to Carolina, and they find Liam Cohen, who came from the University of Kentucky, right? So it wasn't like he was on the staff, and he was being developed there, and they found the next guy. And now he's the hot guy.
Yeah, Todd Bowles is a really good coach.
Maybe Baker Mayfield's really good right now.
Yeah.
Got Mike Evans and all this. But look, I'll give Canales credit. They benched Bryce Young. It looked like his career was done.
Holy cow.
My man, the second half of the season, not just the way he ended the season, but the second half of the season in its entirety, he played so much better.
Like, that guy has had a first 2 years of his career. If he won comeback player of the year this year, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of does, right?
Right. If you're going to put Darnold on the list, why can't Bryce Young be on that list too? My goodness, what he's done.
We got Oehser coming up, Johnny O on the other side, and hopefully we'll be able to swing a few minutes with Tony Pauline from Sportskeeda, as he had an interesting piece that we detailed in the opening segment having to do with the Jacksonville Jaguars, their coaching search, and the role of Trent Baalke going into the future. This is Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. There are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and Jags football.
To the 5, into the end zone, touchdown!
Jaguar football lives here. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and I've been telling you for years about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures right now running an awesome special for January. Get a complete enclosure done, get free flooring. Now, that can save you some money. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring also running a buy one room, get the second room free. Once again, only for January. Now offering flooring coating as well. So give them a call. I know I did. Visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Instead of wasting money on resolutions you won't keep, why not invest in something that lasts? Like fixing that dripping faucet, clearing that clogged drain, or finally tuning up your AC. Call Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. We'll help you keep your home in shape this year. It's the one resolution you won't regret breaking. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule service today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Matt Hayes here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
American Electrical is looking for bright minds and hard workers to help light up North Florida. The community continues to grow, and now you can grow your career with a company that will make sure you succeed through commitment. Take advantage of the Electrical Academy, dedicated to training select students. And the best news, it's free of charge. Log on to american-electrical.com to find out more. They're leading the way in electrical contractors on the First Coast, and you can be part of the team. American Electrical, powered by professionalism. Equal opportunity employer.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and this month I want to talk to you about welcoming the winds of change in your life. But so often, when we see the winds of change coming our way, our immediate response is to fight it. Friends, when you see things in your life changing, when the winds of change are coming your way, don't fight it, but embrace it. Recognize that God is stirring you up so that you too can soar like an eagle.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. And Greg, when you start to shift from warmer weather into some cooler weather, you can get on the road. What has Honda got to offer?
Honda's got a bunch of great bikes. They've got the new e-clutch technology, which means you can ride without using your clutch.
And I love the fact you can go automatic on a bike, which was unheard of for a while.
It was for a long time, and Honda has mastered it.
You can log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, see all they have to offer, or drop by the showroom. They're on Atlantic near Regency. That's Cycles of Jacksonville.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nick in here for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Here's your 1010XL local sports update, sponsored by USA Park Airport Parking. Gator men's basketball led wire to wire as they took down the number 1 ranked Tennessee Vols at home on Tuesday evening. Head coach Todd Golden says his team met the moment.
We talked about it a lot leading up to the game. There's very few times in your life where you're going to get to play against the number 1 team in the country, while at the same time our goal is to become the number 1 team in the country.
Florida State Seminole men's basketball will take on the University of Miami Hurricanes this evening. Typically, the games are close, says Noles head coach Leonard Hamilton.
Even though we've won our share of the games, a lot of those games have been very closely contested.
In the East Coast Hockey League, the Jacksonville Icemen will host at home the Greenville Swamp Rabbits tonight. The puck drops at 7 p.m. Our other pro teams around the state in the NHL, the Tampa Bay Lightning defeated the Carolina Hurricanes, and NBA action saw the Miami Heat defeat Golden State. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:59, it's 47 degrees. Time at 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's time for Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Oehser. Oh no. Oh, really? Oh yeah.
All right, Jaguars Today on this Wednesday, post-firing of Doug Pederson, John Oehser from Jaguars.com joins us. Hello.
Is that slash post-firing of Doug Pederson slash John Oehser? Or is it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
Post-firing of Doug Pederson, comma.
Comma. Okay. Big. Yeah. A point where punctuation matters.
Yeah, but I'm not the guy who reads you the punctuation.
Okay,
there are others who do that, I've heard.
Because that stunned me for a second.
Yes. No. Yeah. We're glad you're here.
All right. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. I mean, it's here we are again.
What have you done to make the Jaguars better in the last 48 hours, John?
Well, I wrote a head coaching search tracker.
Okay, that's good.
I did the ozone.
All right.
Talked to Brian Sexton and Kai Stevens on AM today. So,
yeah. Did that advance the cause in any discernible way?
I think an argument can be made both ways.
Fine.
Comma.
By the way, so you know what kind of people we're dealing with here, right? Who just came up on the break, because why wouldn't it? Would you rather die in a fire, or be shot in the leg and die of the ensuing infection because it was left untreated?
Who texted this?
No one.
Oh
no, we were just talking amongst ourselves.
Just
and we're like,
up. Yeah.
that would be a bad way to go. Well, what about this? And kind of thing happened, and Tony went with fire, and John said he'd take the shot in the leg.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a little like I walked in and this was thrust upon me. So
well, I mean, those are the best. You get your instant reaction, your gut reaction to it. So.
That was my instant reaction. It's like, get it over with.
Get it
right. Like that's
like
that
Mike
was my
said,
reaction.
The pain would be
the pain would be the worst pain ever, but it would be over relatively briefly.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
tough call.
I think that's the point.
In my sleep, at the age of 103.
That'd be nice.
Would be fantastic on all kinds of painkillers at that point in time. So, John, what was your personal initial reaction to the way that Shad Khan has handled this disappointing season?
Surprised. I was surprised that it wasn't a house cleaning. I wouldn't say shocked because I guess after doing this for a while, I'm never really shocked at how any team handles it afterward because you just don't know. But I thought it would be everything, and then in listening to Shad, he clearly sees this now as a, quote, head coach-centric franchise where everybody else is sort of supporting that. And I think that I think he saw Trent and the structure as being able to support that going forward. So that's not going to be popular, but that's the direction.
Yeah, obviously, it's the direction at this point in time. You say house cleaning. I'm not sure how many jobs you were willing to axe there in this house cleaning. I mean, there are like at least 85 people whose jobs are dependent on Trent Baalke, apparently, which I just thought, of all the things in that press conference on Monday, I don't know if Shad Khan is just kind of playing that straight face. Like, what do you mean house cleaning? Like, we all know what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I think that's more it than anything else.
You think what's more it?
That it's more playing it straight-faced.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Right. All right. So Doug Pederson there are pieces like Heath Farwell's done nothing but excel here, it appears, right? I would hope that any candidate that comes in that the Jags would highly recommend Heath Farwell stay on board. And look, you don't know. People have their own right to fill out their own coaching staff, but I don't know if every presumptive head coach has every position filled. You know what I mean? Like in his folder, if he goes 2-3 deep on special teams coordinators, and maybe they do.
Often what happens there is GM, in this case, owner, people who are assisting with the search will say, okay, who are your guys? Tell me why Heath Farwell shouldn't be involved. Right. So it's why you keep him under contract.
And the best rookie kicker we've seen in a long time.
And overall, I mean, those elements probably would translate to another special teams coach. But also, I think a very good special teams unit. You didn't look at that unit this year and say, well, they can't cover, they can't.
I can't remember a crazy big return that they gave up.
Right. So, and Heath, if you know him, is a guy that you want around. He's good in the building, positive. People like him, respect him, etc. So if the new person coming in has a guy, a special teams guy, then that move's probably made. Often it's more you're trying to figure out how to find a staff, which isn't always easy as a head coach because a lot of guys are under contract. So I would say there's a decent chance Heath stays. I hope so.
By the way, perfect timing for this topic. Literally just announced by the Jaguars that not only are Logan Cook and Ross Matisic Pro Bowlers, they are first-team All-Pros at their position. Now, granted, I'm not saying that's as important as having the first-team All-Pro quarterback.
Sure.
But that's as good as you can be at your position. Logan Cook and Ross Matisic were. And, again, they work under Heath Farwell. And I understand what you're saying. Like, is Ross Matisic going to become a less accurate long snapper if Heath Farwell's not the coach? Maybe not. But the cumulative effect of everything that the special teams did, I thought was very positive.
I thought it was too. And while we're on the topic, good for Logan Cook and good for Ross.
Absolutely.
Ross clearly has established himself among people who know long snapping, and I don't pretend to be one of those people. But clearly the league believes he's the best. Two-time All-Pro is hard, whatever you're doing.
You can look at Logan Cook and say, all right, what's his punting average? How many inside the 20? You can look at stats.
Right.
What do you look at for Ross Matisic, right? Other than and for the fact that he's coming from this market and he's done it twice, obviously Jaguar fans are going to hit refresh and retweet and vote as many times as they can. But everybody does that for all their guys around the league. So, it's the other portion of it that comes into play. His peers, the coaches,
I think long snapper is one of those where groundswell of fan support probably isn't swaying that a whole lot.
Correct. Exactly. That's my point.
So, and clearly his coverage ability, which is off the charts for a long snapper. But for Logan, I think Logan, 7th year, 8th year, right? 7th, could have been an all pro or Pro Bowl multiple times before. So good for him that he's getting that recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. So just wanted to note that. And nobody's saying, hey, look, this is good enough for whatever. We're talking about specialists.
Oh, I'm sure people on the text line think you're saying this is good enough.
I'm sure they do. That's why I like to state my opinion clearly. And then if the confusion comes, it's on their end.
The question is, how would Logan want to die? In a fire? Or
I don't know. Or shot in the leg and die of the ensuing infection.
He might choose fire because a punter wouldn't want to get shot in the leg.
Good point, but I don't think a punter would want to die in a fire either. So I'm gonna guess nobody would choose to go out either way, but it's in relation to each other. I'm probably with you. Just give me. I'm not like to get it over with. And by the way, shot in the leg and the infection. There's probably a lot of pain involved in that as well. But hopefully, I'll be delirious.
Yeah,
for a lot of
it's hard to know in modern society because if that happened, you would have things to treat it available to you. Right. So it's hard to actually picture the actual torture over time of that kind of thing actually causing someone's death in today's society.
I guess I would choose shot in the leg because I figure maybe somebody will come along and change the rules.
What's that new show that's coming out like on Netflix or whatever it is that's going to give you like a brutal look at the Old West? I think it's like pre-Civil War.
Yeah,
it's called American something or other, and it's like supposed to be like, you ever see The Revenant? You know how oh man, I mean that's like,
it's based on a true story.
Gruesome.
Yeah.
DiCaprio's character gets mauled by a bear and survives it. Right.
Okay.
Oh, spoiler alert. Anyway.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, but
the bear attack happens pretty early.
This show is supposed to be
that ruins my Wednesday.
Just as gritty as any other. All right, we're getting a little far afield here. 641-1010 if you want to get on board. We are hopeful. I don't know if you saw the piece by Tony Pauline today at Sports Kita. We're hopeful he's going to join us for a few minutes here in this hour. He said he's hearing around the league that Trent Baalke may lead this coaching search and then transition to another role in the organization. He also said that Ben Johnson, the Jags are going all in on him, and another name to watch for is Cliff Kingsbury, which is interesting because he was not on that list of people that the Jags put out in terms of requesting interviews with. So all that may be coming our way here shortly. We'll find out when we figure out Tony's travel situation. Jim in Regency, though, up next here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Jim.
Yeah, good morning. As far as I'm concerned, the most important information for me is 2025 going to be Baalke's last year? Is that the end of his contract?
It is the end of his contract currently, yes. But
yeah, I know it may not be.
Doesn't preclude him getting an extension. We just don't know,
Right. Well, he should have been let go after he let Agent Hutchinson go by him.
Well, I mean, I don't think you fire him on the spot for not taking the guy. But, I mean, certainly Aiden Hutchinson has been, in my opinion, and when he's been healthy, more impactful than Trayvon Walker. That's my opinion. And, that doesn't besmirch Trayvon Walker. He's been a very good player. Aiden Hutchinson had the inside track to Defensive Player of the Year through about 5 games this year. So, 6.5 sacks, I think, through 5 games was just crushing it. So, anyway, don't know, John, and this got brought up the other day, and there's really nothing definitive on that in terms of
on Trent's contract.
Yes,
yeah. I mean, it's hard to know at this point. It ends in 2025, but as you said, and he could get an extension, or that could be it. I don't have any real insight because I don't think anybody does on that front. You're trying to find a coach right now, and then I think they would probably discuss that sort of thing after that.
Yeah, or I would hope that's discussed before that, honestly. Like, I want to know, like, if I'm Shad Khan and I'm bringing back Trent Baalke, well, what is my plan? Am I bringing him back, and is this a prove-it year for Trent Baalke, or is this, in the back of my mind, I like the direction this is going, and it's just a formality that at some point we're going to extend this deal, or does this deal end and he does take on maybe some other role in the organization? I don't know the answer to any of those things, but guess time will tell.
Yeah.
On that front. All right. So we're efforting Tony Pauline. We'll give you an update when we come back, see if we can grab a few minutes with him and find out exactly who it is here. And by the way, very nice hoodie that you got there.
Thank you very much. It's
today.
I made it. I sewed it myself.
Did you? The embroidery on the Jaguar logo.
It's high end.
It does look high end, even from afar. It looks like
it's
very nicely done.
I make most of my own clothes.
Excellent. All right. And it usually shows. All right. We'll take a break here. If you want to get in, 641-1010. On the Garber Automall phone lines, you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. Yeah, it's nice out right now. You can open up the windows. You don't need your AC, but, man, you need your AC in Florida. You need it to work properly, and when you need help, you need it now. You need it right now, like Lickety Split. Call Lickety Split. You can get same-day emergency service, not only for your AC, your home's plumbing and electrical, too. I'm sure, like me, you see their trucks all over town. I do when I'm driving into work every single day because they're out there on the job making sure people get the service they need immediately. Lickety Split. When you need it done, and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split.
Jaguars Today.
For the renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL. From the preseason to the playoffs and every day in between.
Each man individually preparing himself to be the best he could possibly be. Better than he's ever been. Because that's what it's going to take.
At 1010XL. The season never ends.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Hacker here, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, I finally get to have a different resolution. Like most of you, mine was always to lose weight. I'd try something for a few weeks, maybe lose a pound or two, and then give up. Well, I tried. Starting the new year with Awaken 180 isn't a try. It's a sure thing. And why will you stick with it? Because instead of a pound or two, you'll see results right out of the gate. We all need motivation. After my first 3 weeks with Awaken 180, I was already down 30 pounds. Granted, I had a lot of weight to lose, but look at Dempsey, look at Matt Hayes. Those guys had results out of the gate too. Dempsey dropped 9 pounds his first week, Matt dropped 12 pounds. Regardless of the weight you need to drop, seeing those fast results will motivate you to reach your goal. Guys, girls, losing weight regardless of how many times you've tried is possible with Awaken 180. Make the sure bet and make 2025 the last time losing weight is your New Year's resolution. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
D1 Training East Jacksonville invites you to their mega NFL football camp at the Bowl School February 1st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Ages 7 through 16. Get hands-on coaching from former NFL players at every single station. The coaches lineup put together by Connor and Sam at D1 is proudly sponsored by Tim Tebow. To sign up, call 904-901-6470.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the chairman of Underwoods. With Christmas behind us and 2025 here, the last thing you want to hear is somebody trying to sell you something. That's why at Underwoods, we'd like to just stop and say thank you to all the people that came in our stores over the last year. Whether you bought from us or not, we want to thank you for coming by and giving us the chance to help. You know, in North Florida, there are a lot of people trying to sell you jewelry. But at Underwoods, we consider it an honor for somebody to come in and just give us that chance to help. And if we do a good job, we might get a chance to serve again. Having served North Florida since 1928, all of us here understand what a customer really gives us during that visit to Underwoods, their trust. And it's up to us to do everything we can to keep it. So on behalf of everybody on the Underwood team, thanks again for coming into our stores. And we wish each of you a happy new year.
Start your new year off healthy. Get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
He's
He's not Pistol Pete, he's Pete Prisco.
Been on the wanted list almost 20 years.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Franchi Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's grape.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window
World,
simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
All right, Jaguars Today. We've got news this week, obviously. New head coach will be incoming. Right now, we've got the current general manager as a holdover. Usually this time of year, Tony, we start turning our thoughts to the NFL draft if the Jags are out of the playoffs, which is unfortunately too often. Right? And our number one go-to guy is Tony Pauline, who's been with a number of outlets, but currently and for a while now with Sportskeeda. And he put out a piece today about the Jaguars' situational NFL Insider Note column there. And Tony, kind enough to join us this morning. Happy New Year to you, brother. How are you?
I'm okay. I guess it's good to be back with you, but usually when I'm back with you this early, it's not good for the Jaguars.
Bro. No. We wanted to talk to you mid-February.
Yeah.
You know, what do we do at pick 32?
That's what happened last year. All right, well, we got it was way late in the process we got to you, Tony, but we eventually got to you, and we appreciate it every year. But this year, we need you now.
Yes,
there we go.
Yeah,
I usually don't see you till the combine, so this is unusual.
I know, but hey, we're happy to have you, and we'll pick your brain on a number of things this morning. But let's start with your insider column here, and what you're hearing about Trent Baalke. Just in your own words, what's the rumor mill telling you?
The rumor mill is he's going to, people feel, a couple people told me this, they feel he's going to retire. They'll pick a new GM. He'll get a new position. He'll either be a consultant or he'll have a new position within the organization. There was no timeline given to me on this. I don't know when it's going to take place, but that is the feeling amongst a lot of people in the league. And I mean, Baalke's a survivor. It's unbelievable how this guy survives, regime after regime where he's the general manager and these teams have terrible seasons. And I think a lot of people were surprised that he was kept around after such a terrible season when Coach Pederson was fired. But then that's Trent Baalke's history.
No, you're right about that. He is a survivor. And, I had heard that rumor that he might retire. It actually got brought up at the season-ending press conference on Monday. And he said, hey, if I was going to talk about that, it would only be with my wife. Look, you can easily couch his tone as if you take another position. You're not retiring. You may not be the GM anymore, but I'm still in the organization. So that may be semantics. But you wrote that they want to put a full-court press on Ben Johnson, that's the guy. Now, what we have heard on our end, and again, it doesn't mean it's come straight from the horse's mouth, but that he is not super keen on the idea of coming into the organization if Trent Baalke is in that GM position. What are you hearing on that specific front?
I didn't hear that, but I hear, Ben Johnson is going to be a pretty tough get for most teams. Ben Johnson, as I said in the article, is going to have his choice of jobs. He is the hot guy. He is the one that everyone – Mike Vrabel is up there, but a lot of people think that once they fired Jared Mayo, Mike Vrabel's a natural fit in New England. But you remember, Johnson almost had that job in Washington last year. He called the guys on the plane. They had to turn the plane around. So the job is going to have to be perfect for Ben Johnson. Have I heard that Ben Johnson won't take the job if Trent Baalke's there? I have not heard that.
Is there any reason why Cliff Kingsbury, who you included as a name of interest for the Jaguars, wasn't on the list of candidates that they have requested to interview that they put out yesterday?
I don't know that. Someone told me keep an eye on Kingsbury because that's a guy that the Jaguars like. But like Ben Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury, he's got options. He's under contract, or he's still being paid by the Arizona Cardinals till 2027 at an amount close to $6 million a year. So if the situation isn't right for Cliff Kingsbury, he's not going to go there. But I do know that there is interest there from the Jaguars. And I think it all stems back to the quarterback. They invested heavily in Trevor Lawrence. A lot of us thought he was going to be a generational talent, myself included. I don't know that he's met those expectations, although they're not all his own fault. So they want to bring somebody in that's going to run an offense and develop the quarterback. And you look at what Cliff Kingsbury's done this year in Washington. I don't know that, he is head coaching material. Sometimes when the guys get a second bite of the apple as a head coach, they do much better because they learn from previous mistakes. Mm-hmm. That doesn't always happen. But, like Ben Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury's got options for different reasons.
All right. Go ahead, John.
Tony, John Oehser, good to talk to you again. What beyond Kingsbury and Johnson, anything in the mix, any names beyond that stand out from the 8 mentioned yesterday?
No, I took a quick glance at the list, and I'm sure they'll go through the process. Nothing that really stands out. I still think that they want to go with an offensive-oriented head coach for Trevor Lawrence.
What do you, in terms of around the league, right? We feel like a lot of these guys get pigeonholed into one of those two categories. You're the offensive innovator, right? You're the Ben Johnson, the Liam Cohen type, or you're the leader of men, which often gets put on the defensive guy because people don't seem in this era to be clamoring for the brilliant defensive mind to take over. So maybe Aaron Glenn and others fall into that category. Around the league, are there different camps in terms of schools of thought on what is the best avenue, regardless of which team is, seeking to fill their opening?
Well, I think it depends on the team. If you're starting a new, say the Chicago Bears, they are basically Chicago Bears, or compared to the New York Jets, where the New York Jets, with or without Aaron Glenn, are in win now mode, and they have a talented defense, and they're more likely to bring in a guy like Rex Ryan, who's basically going to start the motor and get the talented players on the roster to play up to their level of ability, rather than a first-year guy like an Aaron Glenn, who's going to have a lot of bumps and bruises and a lot of hurdles. If you're starting from a lower rung, you are more apt to go with a first-time coach. If you think you are a few pieces away, or you've got a lot of pieces and you can be competitive, the Jaguars made the playoffs 3 seasons ago. They were looking great midway through the 2023 season. So they feel that, there's a few pieces and they can be back in the hunt for that AFC South. They are more likely to go for that guy that's got experience.
Tony, we can't have you on and not ask you a draft question or two. Right, well, we got you. Is Travis Hunter going to be looked at as more of a corner or a wide receiver prospect by the league?
In my opinion, right now, he's a better receiver than he is a cornerback. I think he's going to be tried at both. You used to say cornerback was a bigger priority, but now the game-breaking receiver, which he has shown himself to be, is as much a priority. I think it's a situation where the team that drafts him is going to use him primarily as a receiver first, and then may put him on the field for nickel or dime packages and see if he can develop in that area.
That's interesting because a lot of people see it differently, right? Like they'll put him as a full-time corner and mix him in on offensive packages. The total package that he presents, is he worth a top 5 pick?
In this draft, yes. I mean, he is not a generational type talent. And I was thinking about this before I hopped on with you guys. You know, if I was going to compare him to Trevor Lawrence was rated much, much higher. Not because he's a quarterback, but because he was a much, much better player. He looked like a much, much better prospect. So is he a top 5 prospect? In this draft, he is. In, say, last year's draft, maybe he's number 5 or so after all those quarterbacks went.
Is Mason Graham another of those top 5 prospects in this draft class?
Could be. I mean, I have Mason Graham right now as my number 10 prospect because I got a bunch of pass rushers ahead of him. I mean, the thing with Mason Graham, when we go through the process is, let's see how big he is. Let's see how long his arms are. He's an explosive player. He's a playmaker. He's a guy you want in the locker room as well as on the field, but he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's more of a one-gap defensive tackle. You watch Mason Graham, he's often out-positioned by blockers if he can't get the first step on them. He's going to be a very early pick, and he's worth it. He's more a safer prospect that doesn't have incredible upside versus, say, where Travis Hunter is just scratching the surface of his ability and could be a tremendous player 2 or 3 years down the road.
All right, and the last one, because we could do this all day with you, and I, you know, despite the fact that I'm sad that we're calling you this early, I'm glad we're calling you this early as well. The Jags need help on both lines of scrimmage, but on offense, they've got their tackles locked up at least for the next couple of years. So if you're looking at a guy who can play maybe guard for a couple of seasons and eventually transition out to tackle, I've heard Will Campbell may be the best in terms of fitting both of those categories. Do you agree with that? And just which offensive line prospects would be worthy of a top 10 selection this year?
Well, really, right now, Will Campbell is the only one, and he's number 11 on my board. Okay. And I think he's a tackle. So I don't think where they are drafting, I don't think you're looking at any offensive lineman that would fit that category. You know, when you go into round 2, guy like Josh Connerly of Oregon, who plays left tackle for the Ducks, phenomenal athlete, moves very well, a little bit shorter. But if he's there, say, at the top of round 2, he's one of those guys that you could plug in at guard and then maybe develop as a left tackle in the future.
All right, well, I'm going to rely on that when I do my next simulated 7-round mock draft, which is my new obsession, Tone. You're the best, brother. We hope you had a wonderful 2024 and look forward to hopefully catching up with you when your schedule allows here leading up to this year's NFL draft.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure.
All right, buddy. There he goes from Sportskeeda, Tony Pauline. He's our favorite draft guy. As far as I'm concerned, he's as good as anybody out there in the business, and won't be the last time you hear from Tony coming up here on Jaguars Today. All right, let's take a break here. We'll come back. We can reflect on what Tony had to say, and we'll maybe give you our initial list of the 3 guys who intrigue us the most among the candidates that have been mentioned as possibilities for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Don't have to be on that 8-man list, but any reasonable ones beyond that as well, like a Mike Vrabel, a Cliff Kingsbury, somebody like that are certainly eligible, I think, for this kind of question today. So we'll do that when we return in a moment. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. You know, it was a few years ago now when a golf ball came crashing in through my living room window, and it finally got me off my butt and said, you know what, it's about time that I replaced all the original windows in my house. They had been there for a long time. So I went with the best. That's Pella Windows and Doors. Consumer Reports rates them number one in all the major window categories, and my experience backs that up. Great staff, super knowledgeable. It looks fantastic to have Pella products in my house. Replaced all my windows, my sliding glass door. House is more energy efficient. It looks great. You can jump on board as well. Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather, Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out, the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into the showroom, you'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
Every bowl season has its gems.
Amazing, isn't it?
Take 1010XL's Ultimate Bowl Challenge, and you could win $1,000 of jewelry from Beard's Diamonds.
Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready.
Log on to 1010XL.com and start picking.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
When looking for a firearm, you want knowledge of product, a fair price, and of course, a quick process. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach is always stocked with brand new firearms and the quickest in and out times this side of the ditch. BeachesJewelryandPawn.com.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Follow Florida Gators men's basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and this month I want to talk to you about welcoming the winds of change in your life. But so often, when we see the winds of change coming our way, our immediate response is to fight it. Friends, when you see things in your life changing, when the winds of change are coming your way, don't fight it, but embrace it. Recognize that God is stirring you up so that you too can soar like an eagle.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
What is the busiest airport in the world?
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport is the busiest airport in the world, serving over 100 million passengers.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, assistant team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jag owner Shad Khan remarked on what he's looking for the next head coach to bring.
We are the most predictable team on both sides of the ball. And football, to win, deception is a big part of it. Unpredictability.
Jaguars safety Andre Sisco shared his comments on what he thought went wrong this season for the team.
I think there's times where certain guys are playing their butt off, and as a group, we didn't all show up at the same time.
One of the brightest spots for the Jags this year has been the play of Trayvon Walker.
Kind of hard to reflect on things like that, but we at the end of the season, as I go through and play things through my mind, obviously being consistent is my main thing, and if I can do that, I feel like I'll be around for a good long time.
At your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguar Update, I'm Sam Nelson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, coming down the stretch here on Jaguars Today. As I noted yesterday, Jag fans probably haven't cooled down if they didn't get what they wanted here in terms of organizational restructuring. Hope you listened to what Tony Pauline had to say a few minutes ago. If you didn't, go back and listen on demand anytime you like on any of our platforms. YouTube, go directly to the 1010XL website. It's all out there for you. And said he's hearing around the league that it's at least possible from a couple of people he's talking to that there's some speculation, let's put it that way, that Trent Baalke could take in a adjusted role within the organization. Could it happen? Sure. Will it happen? I have no idea.
Time will tell.
Did I think it could happen that Trent Baalke would get retained and Doug Pederson got fired? Sure. Did I think it would happen? No, not necessarily. But like John said, I'm surprised. I'm not shocked.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never particularly surprised at any decision like that because experience tells you that you just don't know a shot. Or with most NFL owners at the end of a season like that.
Yeah, true. All right, let's go around the rest of the NFL.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jack's Beach.
Detroit head coach Dan Campbell said on Tuesday that running back David Montgomery, who chose not to have surgery for an MCL injury a month ago, is expected to be available for the Lions in the divisional round of the playoffs following their bye as the 1 seed this week. The LA Chargers have signed running back Ezekiel Elliott to their practice squad. The Chargers released wide receiver Laviska Shenault from the practice squad to go sign him. The Las Vegas Raiders have fired head coach Antonio Pierce, so there are now 6 head coaching openings in the NFL. And the New England Patriots will interview Byron Leftwich for their head coach opening. Leftwich has not coached anywhere since 2022 when he was the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, obviously was a candidate here and then hasn't hooked on anywhere in the interim. Let's see. Let's go to the phones here, and then we'll go around and discuss today's question of the day. Ed in Arlington is next up, though. Ed, you're on Jaguars Today.
Hey, good morning, Mike, Tony, Johnny O. I just wanted the thing that I think we missed regarding it's got to be an offensive guru type coach and being worried about the court, having a OC that then gets, poached. That means then the team has had success. We've had several. If that happens, then that means we go to the playoffs, maybe gone to a championship, and then kind of. Has there been an example of that? Where a team has had that offensive mind that then left and they just kind of fell off the cliff. So,
yeah, it's a good question. Right. No, I think that's a fair question. It gets mentioned a lot. I don't have a specific list of teams.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's happened, and I actually was thinking about this yesterday, needing to look it up because it is a factor. It's a theory, and it certainly is a positive to keep that offensive system in place as long as you're having success. And it's happened, and I can't think when it has happened, though.
I think it's probably more important the younger your quarterback is, too, because you want that continuity. You don't want complete, every 2 years learning a new system and on and on. And let me ask you, how much, and I know Shad Khan said we're not going to turn this into Aaron Rodgers 2.0, and I think he said that in part to protect Trevor Lawrence as much as say, hey, we're not going to rely that much on what Trevor has to say. because you don't want the impression that, hey, Trevor's like, let's get rid of this guy, rid of that guy. I don't think that's how Trevor is. But how much do you think they will and or should involve Trevor
sure
Lawrence's
he has
thoughts?
spoken to Trevor and has an idea of what Trevor likes, etc. I think he would be a voice that has been spoken to. I don't know that he is a voice that will be a prevailing factor or even necessarily there won't be veto power or like overriding input once the final decision's made.
Yeah, it's a weird spot. It's not like he's going to be in there during the interviews.
Right.
And how much does he know about any of these guys if he's not in the room during the interviews?
Yeah.
Like, it's just what other guys around the league maybe tell him about their experience working with them. That's the extent of whatever expertise Trevor Lawrence could even possibly have with these guys.
I mean, I'm sure if it got to a point where all of a sudden there was a candidate out there that Trevor heard something like, you do not want to work, and it was we need to make sure Shad knows this. I'm sure Shad would listen, but I doubt that would happen. So I don't think he would be I don't think he'd be a prevailing voice in the process.
All right. Among candidates, if you were drawing up your wish list, like they'd all take the job, they'd all be interested in the job.
Yeah.
Who are the three? If you could only interview three.
I'd go, if I go interview three.
Well, I mean, who are the three you're most interested in? I'm trying to put it in a way that.
I'd go Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn would stand out. And then I like, as sort of the third, I like the idea of Saleh because I like what he brings in terms of motivation, leadership, etc. A little bit older, which I sort of like having an adult in the room. So I'll go those three with Johnson and Glenn sort of standing out.
Tony?
Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, and I'd put Liam Cohen, but Robert Saleh would be a close four for me.
I'm just, Saleh's only 45. Not that old. I mean,
no, but he's older than 35.
Yeah. How old is Ben Johnson? Is that
39? I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I was doing that yesterday. I think 39. Which I also don't. I like the idea of somebody who's been through it before a little bit. It's not overriding. But if you're asking me three.
No, I am. Yeah.
So,
and look, I'm just curious as to that. Like, I don't look at Saleh like this wizened old hand, and honestly, I feel like going from failure or the way it ended with the Jets, like many, give me him as my defensive coordinator all day long, especially if you're going to have a first-time offensive-minded younger head coach. Liam Cohen is 39 years old as well. I'm trying to figure out who he looks like. There's an actor, and I can't figure out who he looks like a little bit. He is the full-on ginger, isn't he?
And if I had to guess, you said Saleh being a DC somewhere. If I had to guess, that's probably his path. He's probably a DC for a year or two.
Somewhere.
And then gets another shot, sort of a shorter version of Raheem Morris. A lot of guys who've done that.
Look, I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel here. I'm Ben Johnson as well. Aaron Glenn stands out to me in terms of like a character guy, and he did have a brief half-season tenure here in Jacksonville, maybe a third of a season, if you want to go back to 2007. And, to me, Liam Cohen, maybe. Todd Monken, same guy. Yeah. Joe Brady, same guy. Like, they're all...
There's not a bunch of names on the list that I'm like, ooh, gross.
Right. In that regard, I don't have a particular affinity for Cohen. I don't know much about Patrick Graham at all.
Right.
No.
As the defense coordinator of the Raiders, but they were a competitive team, and they didn't have a bunch of superstars outside of Max Crosby on that side of the football.
And it appeared from afar like he handled a difficult situation well with injuries, et cetera. So he's certainly a legitimate candidate.
Yeah.
So
Kellen
much
Moore,
of this
another one. I don't know.
Well, he's like 18. So
he seems like he's 18. He's older than some of these guys, right? Or is he 35?
I think he's 35. I think I was doing this.
He
yesterday.
played college football in like 2011.
Yeah. But so much of it is once this interview process
36.
starts, they have to get the vibe and a feel for whether it meshes, and that'll be something that only the people involved with that know until it comes out.
Just giving you some of the reaction we got today. Most people list them in order. Johnson, Cohen, Brady is first one I see right here. Johnson, Glenn, and Saleh. Everyone's got Ben Johnson. That's why we didn't say who's your favorite, right? Because we thought it would have been a runaway. Johnson, Glenn, and Saleh again. Byron Leftwich in all caps. I don't see that happening. Johnson, Liam Cohen, and they only listed those two. Johnson, Cohen, Brady, Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. Do you think people said that the list of requests is only the ones that they had to request permission from a team? You still have to make a request of Mike Vrabel if you're going to interview him. Do you know if they want to interview Vrabel?
I'm not sure that that's going to be in. I haven't heard that it is. So right now I'm assuming it's not.
Okay. Yeah.
Until I hear
I'm
that it is,
lukewarm on Mike Vrabel anyway. Yeah. Again, I like Aaron Glenn. What's his track record? Well, I don't know, but I'd rather have the blanks. I know Vrabel did lead Tennessee to a number 1 seed one year and then promptly lost in the first round of the playoffs. And he also ended with a couple of losing seasons. And,
Yeah, I think the talent on that roster was falling apart. I wouldn't have a problem with Vrabel. Everything I've heard is that he's the kind of guy you want setting your culture. But I don't have a feeling that that's the direction they're going in because they haven't said anything about it yet.
All right, let's say hello to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
LB, good morning.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. By the way, is this the first time that a Jaguars head coach could be younger than you? You probably haven't thought about it.
I've thought about it.
I haven't thought
It will be for me.
It will be.
How old's Doug?
I don't like it.
How old's Doug Pederson?
He's
Late
right
50s?
He might be a smidge younger than I am, but he's in my area.
Doug and I are
56.
contemporaries.
Yeah.
56.
Kellen Moore.
What's his birthday? I need Doug's birthday,
January
please.
31st, 1968.
All right, so he's coming up on 57 then.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's Doug's like 11 months older than me.
Okay.
So,
But now that there could be a guy in his 30s, we don't even have to do the birthday math.
No, there will be a guy this time that can hang with my son.
honestly, the age thing doesn't even
it doesn't matter.
bother me anymore.
Yeah, McVay was 31 when he got hired.
And he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But doesn't guarantee that
the right guy.
you're going to have success. Do you have a top 3 wish list among the names that have been bandied about?
Sure. I like a guy in Ben Johnson, obviously, for the play calling, but I also like guys that are a little bit more seasoned. Like, I wouldn't mind Mike Vrabel or Robert Saleh. I don't mind the idea that someone can come in here and establish this team as a bit more nastier, a bit tougher. As much as they talked about, Baalke and Doug Pederson last year in that press conference talked about how they needed to get more physical, I don't think it actually happened.
Oh, look, every team in the history of mankind has said we're going to be more physical and we're going to attack more.
And all these first-time head coaches that are part of it with the Jags, they might all be guys that can bring that. We just don't know.
No.
It's a wild card with all those guys.
I want the coordinator who's going to say we're going to be passive and soft.
Well, we said it when
Find me
Nielsen
that
said
guy.
attack. I'm like, come on. Every single defense coordinator says the exact same thing. We're going to react to what the offense is doing. No, I mean,
By the way, the Colts got Jim Bob Cooter as offensive coordinator when he left from the Jags. Do you think they want Ryan Nielsen now that they have a defensive coordinator opening
I hope so.
in Indianapolis?
I heard he's
Keep the pipeline.
I was going to say, I hope so. Yeah. So, I mean, based on results, come on. This is not all controversial. The defense sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to take that, please do.
If the Colts want to let him run as a head coach, that's on them.
Fine.
Yeah.
Let's go. What's coming up today?
We are going to talk all things Jags. We'll make our picks also because Taylor's off the next 2 days. But most importantly, we have Mike Silver coming up at 1 o'clock, and he wants to weigh in on Trent Baalke since he worked in San Francisco, obviously, alongside when Trent was the GM there for the 49ers.
Ask him if the Jags are still moving to London. He was big on that front for a while, Mike Silver.
Will do.
For many years. I'm sure you will. What? Oh, that Wayne was going to sell it to somebody who's going to move this team to London.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before the sale, I think he was. Since the sale, I don't think he's big on that.
No, I don't think since then.
He's not the Jason Lock on Forbes.
They're Jaguar social media people have long memories.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, but look, that doesn't mean he doesn't have good information. Don't get me wrong.
Mike's terrific.
I like to throw a monkey wrench into everyone's plans. So.
How would Lauren like to die?
Just go back to your mock drafts and leave us alone.
Leave us alone, Dempsey. All right, we can do our own darn show.
Not by fire.
Have
That's
a great
not my
show.
Not by fire.
Not by fire.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Not by fire. That way, see, Lauren was prepared for any question we might throw at her today. All right, that'll do it for us on the program. John, what do you have coming up that folks can look forward to?
One final go-round on the Huddle Up podcast with Bucky Brooks. Then we're off for a few weeks until after the Super Bowl. But that'll be 4 o'clock today, as long as Bucky is not affected by the fires. So we're
amen to that and everybody out there.
And talking to him for people, he said he's okay now. It's close to him, but we're planning to have the Huddle Up podcast, which is the priority.
Absolutely. All right, John, thanks. Have a good week. We'll see you next week, and on we go with Jaguars Today. For Tony